Hi everybody, and welcome along to another market preview as we have a look at this market that goes ahead. It comes on the back of, for mine, a better market. We've seen a little bit of a continuation of the US dollar move. Oil inventories are falling and oil prices going up, and plenty to talk about in a week where the crypto stuff has again bobbled around and surged a bit on the weekend. The weekend Bitcoin surge is starting to become a little bit of a thing. Opening the show for us today will be Ash. We'll be having a look through a market overview from him. Ash, are you ready to go? You need a minute here.
Still need a minute. Yeah, I haven't received anything yet. Maybe now. Let's see.
Right, yeah, look, we're going to have some changes to the times today. We're going to start with Ash on market overview, then Ainslie on gold, and then Ash will do his key market data. Shook is on crypto, Ainslie's on oil, and then Geoff's on the technicians, 2 cents worth today. No Lloyd today. He is at his sister's wedding, and we have got no Alexis today. She is away doing some fundamental stuff. So, sorry, she's away on a family thing. So, a few changes as we go through today compared to the normal timetable. Look at some for mine.
Should be all good.
Cheers, Ash. Look, Ash, I'm interested in your thoughts on the market, and particularly I'm interested in this. I feel as if every new strain of COVID is more dangerous than the last. It's more transmissible. It's more fatal, and the market's just not pricing in what happens if we get a variant here that is transmissible, fatal, and resilient to the vaccine. And while I think that's a slight risk, I just think the market's ignoring it. I think it's a real risk. It's not a strong risk, but it's a real risk. I think they're undervaluing it a bit. What do you think?
I think it's a very, very difficult thing to price in. I think that certainly when it comes down to the UK is hell bent on opening up. It doesn't look like anything is going to stop the UK opening up. And Boris Johnson keeps talking about people not needing to wear masks. So forget lockdown being lifted. There's lots of aspects of the life that we've been living which are effectively looking to go back to normal. And I think it's going to take something quite serious, really, really serious to actually reverse the decision, because the economic impact that we saw last year seems to be too broad and too big for governments to really want to reverse it. They will do everything in their power to go back to where we were. So,
did they tell you who they're going to open up to?
What do you mean? Who they're going to open up to?
So the UK is hell bent on opening up. Well, that's great. Opening up to who?
So the economy opens up. So the economy opens up. So the certain regulations that were put in place last year, pubs closing early, social distancing within pubs, things like that. All those kind of things will now be lifted. That's what they're looking to do. So you're not kind of getting the one in, one out system that you would we have been having in certain stores. Effectively going back to normal. I guess what you're touching on is air travel, and that will be something that will have to be kind of like country by country. But the regulations effectively that have been put on people over the last year. Nationally, that's the kind of thing that is certainly being talked about being lifted over here, and I think it's going to be a lot to curb that, and I guess that's why the market is ignoring it. That the market is ignoring now anything that's coming out about COVID is ignoring it, because if I'm honest, whenever I open up my news feed, I get completely conflicting reports. One news feed will say the vaccines that are out on the market are strong and they're resilient against all variants of COVID. And then you get another one, saying that this Delta variant is so dangerous that it's going to supersede anything else that we've had. So,
mate, 50,000 cases in the UK in the last 2 days, and they're just going to ignore it.
They do see. Yeah. I mean, this morning I opened up. There was another report of Boris Johnson's kind of, hailing this move out of lockdown. So they are going to ignore it. Of those 50,000 cases, I think there was 23 recorded deaths yesterday, and I think that's probably where the data starts to kind of get a bit confusing, because in that way, what is it that you kind of start to trust? There might be 50,000 cases, but as long as the NHS isn't under any pressure, the government is unlikely to do anything.
So, what percentage of the UK is vaccinated?
I think at least 50, more than 50% now.
So you guys must be not too far away from getting, herd immunity if it's such thing exists. Interesting.
That's the hope.
I certainly hope it goes well. It's 50% immunised is certainly globally a great rate, and that's really cool. But I think the market is just eyes blind to the possibility here this is going to get. I'm just having a look at some numbers for yesterday. Some numbers are good. 18,000 in the US, 47 in India. Not so bad, right? 65,000 cases in Brazil, 23 in Russia, 26,000 in the UK, 20,000 in Argentina, 28,000 in Colombia. These are, sorry, that day before yesterday. Actually, USA's done pretty well. It really has. Brazil looks like a sample still.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because last year when they were talking about these kinds of numbers, there was all out panic, and I think the market was panicking, business was panicking, the government was panicking. This year, those numbers seem to be tempered with, okay, don't worry about it, we got it under control. And maybe one of the aspects is it is obviously the main aspect is the vaccine. There was a really interesting report last week from one of the most notable political media commentators called Andrew Marr, who was double vaccinated in, I think, February. He went to a conference. He said he felt super powered. He felt like nothing was going to kind of get through. And within a week, he got COVID. So he was asking on the BBC, he was asking this scientific expert, how was I just unlucky? And the scientific expert said, well, you can still get COVID with the vaccine, but what we're hoping for with the vaccine is that it reduces the effects, and you won't get the hospitalization, so we won't have the pressure on the NHS. And Andrew Marr said, well, it was bad. I almost did call the hospital and have to get to go in. So there's a fine line, I think, that's being played, but it seems they're more concerned about the pressure. They're not concerned about people getting COVID. They're concerned about how bad that particular strain of COVID is.
But I want to leave this here because I don't want to turn this into a COVID discussion. I want to turn this into a market discussion. And my concern is that I just think the markets are ignoring, and I think that they may yet regret that at some stage. But I think the chances are slim, but they're just not really pricing it in. What about the rest of the market? What's your view on the market right now, Ash?
Well, so let's go back to kind of like the big driver really in the market right now, and it was really inflation. It's the kind of is it secular inflation or is it this transitory inflation that we're kind of having to grapple with. And again, how's the market reacting may well be kind of different to any of our opinions about it. And currently, the way that the market is reacting is more probably towards that kind of transitionary inflation. They don't seem to be too worried about the inflation that's coming, or if it is secular, that it will be kind of handled in a way. And I want to bring up the dollar and a couple of these markets. So the dollar on Friday had the jobs numbers, and the jobs numbers suggested something quite benign. The big thing that most people are worried about is that the Fed don't actually raise interest rates in 2023. They raise interest rates in 2022, or maybe the start of 2023 instead. So these numbers are being very, very closely watched. And I was surprised how bullish Jerome Powell was about jobs. Effectively, jobs will take care of themselves. And so far, we're not really seeing the jobs numbers being so extreme that it would suggest that the Fed will be moving before 2023, at the end of 2023. So notable that we are where we are with the dollar. And the reason that we should look at this, and in conjunction with oil as well, and gold and bonds, is that it really starts to create what our worldview is. And the worldview for right now, and probably similar, it touches on what's going on with COVID. The worldview right now is business as usual. Business as usual until we see something really extreme. Yes, we know that assets are overvalued. We know that the stock market is overvalued, and at some point there will be some kind of turn. But really, the question is, if we start reacting now on any of these things, will we be early? And what we're really seeing with something like the dollar is that the chances are we will be reacting too early. WTI, another example, continues to push to the upside. And with WTI, there doesn't appear to be a choke of supply. OPEC were meeting over the last couple of days, and I think that meeting's due to kind of continue into Monday, because they just can't come up with a resolution. But at this point, there doesn't look like that they are going to be starting to play the supply into the market, and they're quite happy with how oil's going. So oil looks like it's going to continue on its trajectory. It's suggesting, inflation in energy and things like that. The dollar seems to be in a little bit of just a little bit caged. So we know that the dollar's boosted. We know that people are starting to buy the dollar. No big suggestion they're coming in heavily yet. The stock market continues to just ease its way forward onto gold, just as another kind of a view of it. Gold is kind of, and I won't talk about the technical aspect of where we should be looking to buy or sell gold, but the point is that gold has stabilized at this level, and at this particular stage we don't have any reason to back really what is the current trend in most of these markets. Stock markets up, gold really up on the longer term. The dollar has been sideways, so probably still back in that. And oil still going up. So I think the general view right now for the week ahead, I'm not talking about a few months to 6 months to a year ahead. The general view right now for the week ahead is probably business as usual. Let's stick with what direction has been unfolding.
Cheers, Ash. Thank you very much for it. Much appreciated. We'll come back to you to do some market data after we've had a chat about